Hello and welcome to Unity of Springfield's New Thought and World Religion class. Today is Sunday, June 15th. My name is Greg Lee, and today we will be exploring relatively casually the principle that the universe is a mirror. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the universe will reflect your internal reality back to you happily, gladly, neutrally. Um, and by understanding and taking conscious control and like actually applying the core concepts of a principle like this, you can take full creative control over your life and your being and all that you experience in this incarnation and this plane. I guess first I would love to popcorn, or I mean, is this where are we at? Is this idea brand new to people? Is this idea something that you've been? Yes, Don.
Isn't this what Abraham has been talking about, the law of attraction?
Very much so. Yes. Your internal polarity, your internal frequency, like attracts like.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's law of attraction stuff. I mean, not all of it's connected, you know. And so as we chat about this, we can go up or down dimensions. We can talk about all the different languages and modalities to describe essentially the same type of thing. Please translate in your head, to make sure that it works for you in your experience. Yeah.
So I get this emails every day from Grateful Living, and today's was the more you study delight, the more delight there is to study.
Precisely. It is the core concept, yes, is if you hold an image of yourself consciously, right? We're not even going to touch on if you're not kind of consciously present and choosing your life, because at that point you've got a little bit more things to work on before you're actually starting to like drive. It's like let's get there, and then when you hold those images, like what you said, you look at the light. The universe will reflect delight to you.
Well, in the mirror concept, I've watched people take that in two ways. And one way is a way that really isn't going to work really well for you, and that is believing I created, you sitting here, and I created you sitting here, and you're my little puppets, and I move you around.
Yeah.
That's not it at all.
No.
No, you're not reflecting and being what I want. You're still you, but what we mirror is what's in me. Only that which is in me can you show me in you. And if I'm a total blue energy and you're a total red energy, we're not going to meet up. You're not going to show up. You're not going to mirror anything to me. Because you can only mirror blue. And so it's not about controlling the world.
It's about controlling yourself.
It
Well,
is.
that's the deal. When you look in a mirror in the physical plane of existence, you can't force your reflection to smile. You smile, and then after a certain delay, a time delay, your reflection smiles. Well, so maybe you're looking in a mirror that's 100,000 light years away. After a certain time delay, regardless. But that's in this third dimensional reality. We operate with a time lag, and so the image that we hold of ourselves, the image that we hold of our future, and all of those around us, cannot manifest instantly the way it does internally. We must hold the image long enough for it to be drawn to us through law of attraction, through polarity, through all of these things. And so what happens in a lot of cases is because of that time delay. When we're trying to consciously put these principles into practice, the money's an easy one. I'm going to say, I'm looking for abundance. and I consciously work on it. I change myself to look in the mirror because I know that it's going to be reflected. So I say, affirmations are a great tool. I am abundant. Money is coming to me. All the money, whatever, however. We're just using examples here. And then I open my eyes and I look in the mirror. Is it here? Is it ready? And then when I look at around me, I see my actual surroundings. I lose the thread because I'm like, well, I don't have money. Like, look, I'm being a realist. I can see my external surroundings right now, and so that concept can't work for me. It is a popular narrative, but again, it is the understanding that as we manifest and as we co-create this reality, we each one of us has cycles. You'll have your highs and your lows, your high energy, your low energy, your successes and failures, we'll say. But if you are not taking into account the time lag of the changes that you make internally, you will always find yourself stuck in that loop where I made a change, I see nothing. Well, okay, next time I'm going to make this change and see nothing. And so you're always kind of playing catch up. And so the goal is for consistency. And that I think is all of it when it comes to the universe being a mirror is smile, frown. It's going to cause a feedback loop.
Yeah, I was going to say that the art of allowing really kind of addresses that time lag in the Abraham series.
You gotta allow it long enough, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm unfamiliar with the Abraham, so I love the translation. This is really good. More of that. Hello.
So, again, if you're starting to believe that you need to control out here, that's one of the ways that you get back in. We don't control out here. We don't have that power to do that. But if I am focused out here, I'm focused, and it's not what I want, then again, that's what I'm attracting. So, one of the things that we're studying in the Abraham right now is if heaven were here now, how would we think? How would we live? Stuff like that.
Hopefully no different.
Well, there are some differences.
Yeah.
But the idea is it's not about creating in this manifest world. It's about being in this manifest world as a creator and understanding your connection with source and with your higher self. And the work is just keeping that connection clear.
Remembering.
Keeping that connection clear. And when you keep that clear, then you keep yourself clear. And then law of attraction just automatically functions and works and is beautiful.
Like a conduit.
Yeah.
Because it's not, if you can clear out the mud that's in your pipe, it will just flow. And that is also one of the core, I guess, foundational practices for operating and exploring the idea that the universe is a mirror reflecting you. It's going to have to start with true internal peace. That's the sort of like fertile ground that you can plant and shape yourself within. It all starts with know thyself. Heck, everything starts with know thyself. But as we talk about mirrors, because that's the topic of today, when we are triggered by something, that's a mirror being held up to you, showing you where to look and ignoring it or not. Sorry, yeah, I mean,
I'm just going to say that, of course, the know thyself, it may be the start, but it's never achieved.
right.
It's never fully achieved. It's always kind of
Always
something to be grasped at.
I've got a question.
Yep.
How does this on again, off again thing that you were talking about, the smile farm, how does that stand in the idea of living in the present, living the now,
Yeah.
seeing what's now,
Right.
and appreciating now. It kind of there's a question.
Yep.
There. Can you elucidate that?
Yeah, I'll explore that. I hope to answer your question somewhere along the line. Well, so I see reality as several different overlaying mechanisms and understandings. Yes, I mean, we can distill it all down to there's no past, there's no present, there's only the eternal now, and that's what we're experiencing and co-creating all together instantly right now. There in that sort of a singularity, in that sort of the instant smaller than any instant, only the present. Cycles don't matter. You know, that's a unity singularity thing. Um, it's your perception. It's our perception. When we incarnate, we're kind of choosing to play by the rules of perceived time. And so, whether or not that's the fundamental underlying truth of the nature of our perceptions and the nature of our individualized existences, we kind of chose to feel it that way. And with time, so yes, there's no smile, frown. It's all in the now. But when you go there, you kind of check out of the game that we're all playing of co-creation and manifestation, and just exploring. I mean, physicality is a cool thing, and in the eternal now, there really doesn't need to be any sort of physicality or existence at all. It's just something you kind of tap into to remind yourself that you're not trapped in these cycles of death, rebirth, all this stuff. John,
Does this include the envisioning?
meaning
Well, you're living in the now, but you can envision a projected now.
Yes. Well, so in some of my other talks, I talk about like how when you cast your perception to the future, you're literally there in the now, even though you're physically in this point in time. Your consciousness can be in the future, envisioning. That is how you operate the law of attraction and that type of thing too. Is holding an image using your imagination to I guess kind of digs this ditch, it smooths a trail between that image of your chosen image of your reality of your even yourself, and makes it more likely to slide to you, to be drawn to you. I mean, everything is just energy. All these words are wrong.
And neurons
And they're all right, you know.
And neurons are growing.
Yeah, exactly. Your neuroplasticity is improving, and so I talk a lot about so affirmations and things, but they rewrite. If your mind is a series of trails through a wheat farm or something, a cornfield, it's really hard to change your mind because what we do tries consistently to take the path of least resistance. That's our thoughts. Our thoughts are continually running these loops. And if we expend the energy to kind of blaze a new trail, the first 10 times we think it's very challenging to walk over all of the stuff. But as we continue to do it, that trail, suddenly there's a tipping point, right? Where the plants have started to grow in the unused old thought pattern, and the new ones are smaller. And as soon as that balance is shifted, where the new path is easier than the old one, your brain's going to do it automatically, and you don't have to worry anymore. You don't even have to try because it's there.
New habit.
Exactly, it's your new habit. That's where it comes into like do something every day for 7 days, 30 days, all the stuff, or repeat affirmations. You can also do it without a lot of effort, by taking conscious control over, I guess, your own thought patterns. You can just say, "This is the way it is now." And if you can hold that image, it changes your reality internally. Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say one of the ways of looking at the on-off too is intentionality versus autopilot, and that can slip, and then like you say, there's that tipping point. You have to have intentionality on whatever one thing it is until
Pay attention.
Until it will you pay it forward until it becomes your autopilot.
Exactly.
And you may only want it for a few weeks, and then you're ready to change.
Absolutely.
Is this what Jesus was talking about when he said, assume that it's yours?
Yeah,
And
precisely.
it's yours.
Yes, there's several Bible verses about this exact thing. Yes, that's a good one. I think you're paraphrasing, but yeah. Lindy?
So, to me, I take the Abraham principles. For me, it helps to simplify it just for me. So, okay, in this moment, and I'm just going to use colors because it's not good or bad. No creation is good or bad. So, in this moment, up to this moment, I have created a blue reality. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So when I open my eyes, there's blue all around me. It's very easy for me that my path of least resistance is blue. Everybody around me is going to support blue. Okay.
We're only going to show you blue.
And they're going to show me blue.
Mm-hmm.
So if I decide that I'm no longer interested in creating blue, but now I want to create red, and I look out here,
All you see is blue.
all I'm going to see is blue. It's not going to, so there's blue. So in order, at that moment, in this moment, I'm creating always in this moment, it's going to take some time for me to envision red. I'm still playing here. I'm still alive. I'm not going to go into a coma. Could, but probably not. We're probably not going to do that all the time. So when I open my eyes and I see the blue that is still here, I'm just going to go, well, that's nice.
Didn't work.
I'm going to, no, not it didn't work. That's nice. Blue's okay, everything, but I'm going to remember I want red. I'm going to think about red. I'm looking at blue. And it's all right. I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to try to change you because I can't change you. You showed up blue in a beautiful way for me, and when I asked for blue. But now I want red, so I love you all. Everything's good. You're good. And I'm thinking about red. And red
we all have to go home and change our
and
clothes.
eventually, you'll start to get a little more purple. And if I could hold red absolute, I could do it really fast.
Absolutely.
But most of us are not doing that. But the more that I go, when I'm wanting red and the blue is around me, and I open my eyes and it's blue, and I go, yeah, blue again. What did I do wrong? What did you do? How can I get them to be red so that I can see red? That's the stuff. That's the stuck stuff. Yeah, you don't have to change.
Which is where you get caught in that cycle of frustration.
All of that, which is still me looking at blue again, and so now what am I creating more of? Blue.
As you pay attention.
Yeah. So really, it's not. It's just in this moment. Focus on what you want. If you want red, let it be red, and let blue be okay.
You're hanging on to your.
Yeah. The last few minutes what you were talking about reminds me that in neuroscience, there's a saying that brain cells that fire together will wire up together. And so by constantly focusing on what we want, our brain cells will actually literally start firing together. And that's both good and bad. I mean, you can go for good, and there's other things like bad, like, some musicians, they get where they can't move their fingers individually.
Yeah.
And that can be catastrophic for a career, but they have ways of dealing with that now. But yeah, brain cells that fire together will wire up together, both good and bad.
If it's learning a skill or something, it's only positive that it turns into muscle memory, but neural memory. Automatic, yeah.
I think it's important to remember that anything that's going on that we are not in appreciation for, that we don't like, if we can anyway shift into gratitude, that it's taking us to a new place, then the major part of the resistance that's holding it in place seems to dissipate. It may take a little while, but it does dissipate and just goes away, and what you do want shows up instead.
It all comes back to your attention. I do like gratitude as the baseline. That how quickly can you be thankful for anything that has happened in your existence? Yo.
Yeah, if your world is blue, then you realize that there is red. You can just start looking for that little red dot and find out it grows and grows and grows. And that way you don't have to fight it.
There is the you go to an eye doctor and you flip the thing. And it's like you've had all of the where they test your eyes. Is it better A or B, B or C, red or blue? I mean, these types of shifts are possible when you take control of your perception itself. I mean, literally, you create your own internal narrative, your own internal interpretation of an external event. You also kind of created that external event. Yeah. And so being mad at someone on the highway because they cut you off is ridiculous. Right? Like this is the what how is that going to serve you or your existence in any way? And that comes back to the knowing thyself, yeah, because the triggers itself are they teach you where to look to completely patch the leaky vessel, right? That is your consciousness itself, to be able to hold better the energy of the entire universe, I guess. These are tough. This is a tough concept to really put in words. Yeah.
So a couple, 3 years ago when I had that stroke, when we were on vacation out west, and all of a sudden, worst thing that ever happened to me like that, all of a sudden I can't pull my pants up, I can't sniff my coat, I can't put deodorant on under my arm, And luckily I had Nancy Bird with me, and we were rooming together, and she took care of me, and she had a stroke previous to that. But I had plenty of time. We spent 2 or 3 days still on vacation before we got back to town here, and I had plenty of time in the back seat to think about what was it I was asking for before this happened. What was it I was asking for? And I was asking for better focus. And there's nothing like a stroke to give you better focus. Okay, I gotta lift my arms up and scratch my ear.
Yeah, you've read Bob Rahman.
Probably a long time ago.
So he also had a stroke before he died, and but he didn't stop. Right?
But as soon as I realized it was better focus, it took all the resistance I had about having the stroke off, and I was able to start focusing.
Gave you, the opportunity to focus. It's like a genie that is purposefully twisting your words. He's like, I want no one to focus. It's like, okay, well now you're purposely. It's like, oh, thanks. That's not what I meant.
Oh yeah.
Gosh.
Hawkins,
Well, that's the joke kind of the nature of the universe, is the true neutrality of what we'll call unity and energetic coherence. All of this.
Peter just said, "Be careful what you ask for."
Exactly, it's exactly right. The trite phrase, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And the way to, if you hate your job and you say, wow, I really don't, I'm tired of my boss, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm unhappy, the universe isn't, that's not you wanting something different. That's you wanting to be affirmed that you hate your job and your boss sucks. So the universe says, yes, of course. here are more opportunities for you to recognize that you hate your job and that your boss sucks. And so the interesting concept is wanting a positive experience is itself a negative experience. You must hold the positive experience in order for it to be drawn to you. Because when you want something, you're like, wow, I wish my relationship was better. The universe is like, yes, you do wish your relationship was better, not your relationship is better. Yeah.
So I'm going to get linguistic a little bit. So want, the word want,
Yeah.
you know, it's like I'm wanting. Means I don't
have.
I don't have.
Exactly.
As opposed to appreciate.
Gratitude. Yeah. That's kind of what the Buddhists want to harp on all the time is like desire. Free yourself from attachments and wants. Yeah.
Okay, so for me and my journey and everything, I am never given a struggle so that I can grow and learn. For me, I can create struggles, and once I create that struggle, in every moment, I still have all the power to create anything, and in every moment, I can use whatever shows up in any way to shift my consciousness. But there's no power out there that's sending that to me so that I can learn a lesson, so that I can grow, so that the very essence of the plan is, I love that Abraham says, don't worry, if you're focused in the direction that you don't want to go, it'll get worse. It'll get worse, not because you're being punished, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you have this amazing guidance system that's always going to let you know if what you're doing is working for you. Now, so I have to kind of let go of that idea that ever there's something created that hurts me so that it will help me. Never. But even when I create something that hurts me, I can in that moment shift consciousness and use it to do anything else I want to. I can say, and what Abraham would just go is you finally reach a point where you go, yeah, I know now I really don't want that. I'm tired of focusing on that. I'm done. And now, so it's, and just the reason is because we justify so much creating pain and suffering, which then causes us to create more pain and suffering so that we can be rewarded sometime for our
It hurts when I do 10 push-ups. Well, these are like the tearing of muscles to grow. Yeah, the friction is where a lot of the growth happens itself. To mildly disagree, I guess.
Well,
There's not enough lubrication in the universe.
It's just something to do. It's just something to do in the universe, guys.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. The whole
Right.
imaging and all the baloney that goes on in it.
There's the conflict. There's novelty. What's that? Terrence McKenna proposed novelty theory, in that existence is looking for the new, always seeking novelty because everything that has already existed, so that's boring. So we must create new stuff, and that creation is like the energetic collision of ideas and energies. That friction is what makes new. And sometimes I'm going to say that hurts, and I don't think it's bad that it hurts.
Well, and I'm not saying, and if we're using the mirror theory and we're creating and everything, I can say I can create muscles by seeing myself muscled and strong, and everything that I do creates muscles. And I never have to do there's
so many studies about
no
that too.
pain always gain.
Yeah, those are super cool. Yeah.
Or I can say no pain gain. Yeah, I can create it any way I want to.
And they're called mirror neurons.
Mm-hmm.
I get to do it whichever way I want to.
Yes, I've explored that. I'm not good enough at it to be super buff yet. I still have to move my body.
So So a few years ago, I got interested in the Mayan calendar for a little while.
As we all
And
did.
I didn't study it long, and I don't know much about it, but there's like 13 steps in going around it before you
Opportunities.
whatever. And the reason I got interested is because, well, I looked up when my dad, where he was at when he died, like what spot on the calendar. And my grandson, my first grandson, was born right in the next slot. And so I'm thinking, okay, reincarnation. When my dad passed, he was dating a woman who had a child with a club foot, and he was extremely interested in that. And he was all into all this stuff we're into too, But he was really into that, wondering what that was about. My grandson was born with a club foot.
Wow.
And then I thought, okay, after that one, I thought, okay, are you dad reincarnated? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then, so I looked up my daughter and my mom's birthday, and the same thing had happened. It was like mom died, and then Sarah was born in the next slot.
Cycle.
Yeah, and mom had never had a happy marriage, home life ever in her entire life as a human being. Her parents and everything else. And my daughter has got like this idyllic family.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, okay, so maybe some of this stuff just takes going to the next slot.
Graduation.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, there's lots of schools of thought on that type of thing. On whether it's one chain of consciousness experiencing the full like family line together, or multiple that are kind of hopping and skipping, and this time I'm the mom, this time I'm the daughter, like this type of stuff throughout incarnations and ages. Who knows? I don't know, but it is like there's a lot of
It was really interesting.
There's a lot of cool stuff.
The two of them turned out.
Well, so that also that ties right back into what I as we continually loop back to the universe as a mirror, synchronicities in that way, meaningless to anyone else. Basically, it's God's little inside jokes with you and you alone, because you're the only one that this situation or this happenstance can resonate with on such a deeply personal level. And you look crazy trying to explain that this bird just winked at me. You know what I mean? Like these are things to other people that can't affect their reality, but the noticing of synchronicities in your own gives you energy. Kind of, it's noticing the subtleties of the dance of the co-creation at work, as play, as a joke, and the amusement that you can get from that, the really just the noticing, like deja vu. Pay attention to these types of things. Pay attention to animals when suddenly there's a squirrel right there staring at me. What is that like? These are things that are innocent, explainable happenstances that happen to every human being, but it's always for them, not for anyone else, and not even to change anyone's minds. Your own. Well, for me, that type of thing is something that I have cultivated, both the noticing, because it's really freaking hard to like notice this stuff. I mean, and not immediately through our programming dismiss it. It's like, oh yeah, that was weird, and then if you don't hold on to it, it just goes away. But when you notice it and hold it, and as you say, the universe is a mirror. So if I hold it not at all, I notice not at all, it affects me not at all. If I notice and care and dive into it, I am rewarded with more of that cool, energetic exchange of me and God, of me in co-creation, of me in all of this stuff, because I'm like, I see you. It's that type of wink, being able to affirm that we're all in it together, I suppose is the word. Whether you want to talk about all of your higher selves, your multiple dimensionalities, just you and God, however however your personal expression of spirituality is treating you, when it shows up, acknowledge it and love on it and play with it.
Could you call that acausal?
Yeah. So yeah, a synchronicity, a coincidence. Yeah. Where it's inexplicable via, but also, I mean, if we're only going to talk about like determinism and stuff, which you could argue that it's turtles all the way down. And what happened in 10,000 years ago set the chain in motion so that that squirrel hopped on my desk, or something like that. And yeah, that's kind of the game that we're playing was butterfly effect type of thing. We can't in our existence with our tiny little tools trace causes back to the universal cause. We can hold a concept, but we can't physically understand. It's too much. Yeah, it's too much. But what we can do is the trust and the faith to know that it's working for us rather than against us. Because if we hold that picture where like we're feeling good, this is cool, I'm having a great time, the universe is like, yes, you are having a great time. This is cool. Aren't you glad to be here and alive? Yeah, thanks. but so at the same time, you're like, this sucks. I'm not having fun. Everything's kind of bad. I'm poor, And the universe is like, yeah, you are poor. It sucks. Sorry about that. Yeah, man. But this is the tipping point, the balance that with practice, you can literally shift, quantum leap, as we say, and use the neural pathway where from your perspective, everything is great. Even as the world turns to shit around you, you see only the rainbows and the gold. You see a red universe instead of a blue one, or vice versa. Whatever the universe that you're trying to hold and attract is, can just in a blink of an eye be different when you decide it. It's when you change your mind. I mean, that's literally what changing your mind is changing the way you see it.
Appreciate the stroke.
Exactly. Well, and that comes from dying to yourself. Yeah, dying and not holding on to those like attachments. They really love their attachments or lack thereof. And so that's a great word for this, is your attachments, both to your material possessions, to your yourself, your personality. Everything and all that you are is an attachment that is preventing or at least impeding the free flow of energy in the direction that you are interested in pursuing, we'll say. And so as we talked a little bit about your baseline, the no attachments thing, that provides, again, back to the fertile grounds to plant the seed of the law of attraction to grow the prosperity tree or whatever. Like, all of these are so colorful. But the lack of attachments, the dying to self, and resurrecting, you get to choose. If the mirror is reflecting a blank slate, it can be anything. If the mirror is reflecting, oh, I'm too tired, I'm poor, my job sucks, and my kid's mad at me, or something like that. If that's who steps in front of the mirror, you're going to get that reflected. But if every day, anytime you actually consciously engage with the mirror, that's kind of the deal. This isn't something that, I mean, you can, I suppose, but this isn't something that you necessarily have to have consciously at the forefront of your mind all the time. And in fact, that's what gets you into the loops. If you say, I've changed myself, I look at the reflection, it hasn't changed, now I'm sad. I smile, my reflection's still frowning, so then I frown, and my reflection smiles, and I'm frowning, and I'm like, oh, I'm happy again, right? And then it goes back and forth in that way. But if we have a goal, be it anything, change yourself, stand in front of the mirror, smile, and then walk away. You don't have to look at that mirror. It's addictive to be like, this is me. This is my conscious co-creation. But if you instead don't get influenced by the image in the mirror, a lot of people will look in a mirror and then draw conclusions based on what is looking back at them. And so they're like, oh, well, balding and old and tired, and so like then you hold that because, well, of course I saw it in the mirror. But changing what steps in front of the mirror and then walking away, you're gonna reflect only what you want to see and not be influenced by the reflection that looked at you, that was comprised of all of your previous thoughts and choices and actions that have composed this present reality and moment for you. Yeah.
There's also a great laughter exercise you can do in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
And you look in front of the mirror, and if you're not seeing something that you're particularly fond of at that moment, you can go, and then of course the mirror is doing that back at you. And by the time you do that for just a few seconds, you're like, oh my God, I could have had a V8.
These are affirmations. I mean, really, it is. If you think bad about yourself, you gotta stop that first. Like love thyself, know thyself. Don't. If there's parts of you that react to things unconsciously, dig that shit up, figure it out, turn it over, look in the sun, and either fix it if it's not something you're happy with, or integrate it. I mean, we're not trying to cut parts of ourselves out. Like, we are our darkness, we are our light, and it's the beautiful like dance and the interplay and the friction that allows us to change and control and like do stuff. That's the human condition. Is that sort of interplay. Really, the whole problem comes in when it is unconscious. When we are not paying attention to our processes, our thoughts, our behaviors become reactionary rather than proactive, and then we're a victim of the world around us. Yeah.
That's when we're bitching.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think self-compassion is really important when looking at our dark side.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you can't fight it. You have to love it. That's it. That's it.
You just notice the pain and discomfort within oneself, and go, oh.
Yeah. Also, I mean, that's the thing with complaining. Stop that now, all of it. You gotta stop complaining. I mean, but for real, that when you bitch about something, the universe is like, yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Yeah. But when you say this is going great or rather look at it, understand and accept the reality of the situation with no judgment, and disperse it like a cloud in the wind, and that way the energy of the whole thing isn't reflected. It's true neutrality, and it dissipates rather than having. Because I mean, when you fight something, you only make it stronger. Always.
If you could laugh at it, it can really lighten the load you could.
Well, so okay. I mean, if we're talking like pop culture references, and I'm familiar with Harry Potter. You're all kind of old. But in Harry Potter, I'm getting there too. Don't worry. It's just like if you are in the Harry Potter universe, there is a creature called a boggart that manifests itself as your deepest fears, and in order to defeat it, you must laugh at it, and that is a cool concept, and that type of thing has worked in my own life. Is when you're staring down the enemy, and you find mirth. It's a dispelling. It's a dispelling spells. Whatever, I don't know how you want to do it. It's the magic that just makes it go away. It completely strips any of the fear and the scary of its power with laughter. And so that's a right point to laugh at the mirror as it tries to spook you.
And then it's laughing back at you.
And it is, because it's you still anyway, it's you. You can't help but laugh. And so that, again, is the perspective, the perception shift to decide what you want to see.
Yeah, is this what you really want to be doing?
Exactly. I mean, yes, you do. I mean, you're here, so you want to be doing it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be doing it. We all created ourselves moment by moment, every single now up to this point in time in this particular reality. Every single choice can be traced, back logically to be here now. That's always fairly overwhelming. But when I try to hold that, well, it's like then you're like, oh, I created this because I chose 4 years ago to come to Unity one time. And it was like, well, maybe I want to talk, and like all of it makes perfect sense. But then if you just kind of look at it in a vacuum, how none of it makes sense until you trace it now by now. Do you have something to say?
Did you ever read that book?
You. Sorry, what?
Did you ever read that book? Read Here Now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I thought I'd seen your hands.
You did.
Okay.
I was gonna brief explanation of Young embracing the shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I love Carl Jung. Yeah, collective unconscious and all of that. He popularized a lot of the shadow work, and it really is the unconscious. That it's embracing the shadow is seeing it, exploring it, looking at it,
Non-judgmental.
Right. Well, so again, when you fight it, it only makes these things stronger. And so, really, the term embracing it is right. Loving it, holding it, incorporating it. Integration is what he means by embracing. And we do that if we're talking young. Then we do that individually, as family units, as cities, as a society, as a species as a whole. We're constantly in the process of seeing and embracing our shadow. That's the friction.
I know that that fear inside of us, that if anybody really knew us or if anybody really saw us, it's like we're trying to hide all the time stuff. And I know the 12-step meeting, the very first time I went to Overeaters Anonymous, and I went into the meeting and I sat there and I was so mad, but I never got mad. You wouldn't have seen it in my face at all. But I was so mad, I sat there and I said, I had to stop at 3 fast food places and 3 meals before I could even walk in this door with you, and I would call them names. With you sit, that's the first thing I ever said in one of them. And everybody in the room went, yeah, I know.
Been there, done that.
I know. And I don't remember anything else about the meeting, but it was the first time to go somewhere where if you said something that showed your shadow to someone and they said, oh yeah, I get you, I get it, and that's what's healing to me in 12-step meeting is just like, you're not alone. And that's part of it. The biggest, ugliest thing with the shadow is that the what it takes to hide it.
Yeah.
What it takes to hide it.
Well, so that's a core concept that I would want to make sure that everyone knows is there are no secrets. We see you. There's nothing that is private in the world during all of this stuff, and so don't worry, I suppose. But everyone sees you try to hide anything, and so stop that. But yeah, that's part of existence is the illusion of thoughts being internal to ourselves, and they aren't. Our thoughts are we are broadcasting them, and we are tuning into them. They are not our own necessarily, but we more spin the dial on the radio and pick them up. And we generate our own in some cases, but it's not like I'm generating this private thing. I'm generating this frequency, this signal that's going out there. That's Jungian collective unconscious. When I say, I've got a new idea for a lawnmower that flies, I literally propagate that signal out into the collective unconscious, and 2 years later, some guy invents it in Germany. Or whatever. Like, that's very Jungian in terms of all of
That's a
that.
scary thought.
Oh, that's why, that's how.
No, I mean the lawnmower.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's plenty of videos. I didn't do anything new there.
Well, it's interesting how a lot of inventions are
Happen at the
invented
same-
at the same time in different parts of the world.
Correct. I've seen it with stuff that I've even thought about. It was like, oh, this is new. I've never seen that before. And then a year later, it's 2 or 3 places. Being able to recognize novelty so cool. But also, like, if you don't take action, it's not yours. Like, you actually have to make it or bring it into physical reality. Otherwise, someone will do that for you. And that's kind of the goal too. If you come up with something, you got to do it too. That's the three-pillared stool, 3-legged stool of conscious creation of your existence.
There's such fun things when you're doing this. I was in the car with about 4 other friends who were kind of into this a little bit. I was into it more. Anyway, we're going down the street saying, okay, we're going to create a car. And so we're creating cars, and I said, well, you know what? I think I want one that's this iridescent green, not lime, but light, iridescent green, and everybody in the car is going, there's no such color as that. There's no such color as that. And within just a few minutes, here it comes, drives right by. And they were like, there was no color like that. And I said, I know, I just created. I just created.
Yeah.
And I said, but it wasn't quite what I wanted. I think I like it in purple. The same thing, the iridescent pale purple, and they're like, we know there's none of that. And it drove right up at the stop sign. So it's fun to you can play with it. That's the way to play with it.
That's the God inside jokes, because that harms no one. There is nothing bad about creating a new car color, right? Like that's the fun experiments that you can do that to influence our shared perception of reality without actually taking away the agency or the I guess the sovereignty of other energetic beings. Is little jokes like that. So we're pretty close. How long do I have?
10 minutes.
Okay, 10, 15 is what I got. Is what I did. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I mean, I did most of it. Projections, triggers, self-discovery, everything being reflective. Anyone know how to explore something here for the last few minutes? John?
Yeah, so Tuesday I got bit by a dog.
All right.
And, well, I mean, it's okay.
Yes,
It's just,
all
but
right,
it was, it was, and I was thinking, I wonder why this happened. Like, what did I do to attract a dog? I was just walking. In Humansville, I go by the school because there's goats. I like to go see out in the yard. And then I came around the block, and there's this house that's kind of a junkyard. And as I was walking by, and then a minivan was coming towards me, so I slowed down. But I was still on the road. There's no sidewalks, so I was on the street. And this dog comes out from the junkyard. He's barking at me. A junkyard dog.
Yeah, that's right.
And I stopped and faced him, and he just bit my calf and then ran right off. And the lady in the minivan, she stopped and she was, "Are you okay?" Yeah. And of course, I said, "Shit, he bit me!" And so I was only a block and a half from home, so I started walking on back home. And then the minivan gal, she stopped. She had kids in the car, and she says, "Come on, get in the car, get in the car." She takes me the rest of the way home.
Oh, nice.
And she says, "I watched that whole thing, and I just want, I want to give you information, contact information." So, okay. The people from the house never showed themselves, so I just assumed they had rabies. So
Yeah.
go through this
Do the
whole thing,
yeah.
and it was kind of an interesting experience, but it was not. It's like I remember really being thankful. I got insurance. I got, I don't know. I knew what to do. Went in, washed it off in the tub, in water over it, and wrapped it up because it was bleeding pretty good. And it wasn't a terrible experience. It's not something I would necessarily want to do again.
Yeah.
But it's, I'm taking the medicine now for it, a couple antibiotics.
So hard to reconcile is like that sort of chaos, right? The chaos. How do you?
I don't know. He was real judgmental about the place that was full of junk.
No, so well, that's true.
Well, I was thinking about that. Except it's yeah.
They gotta mow their yard, and then the dog just runs out.
No, there's no grass. There was the junk is like table high or higher.
It's the eyesore.
Well, so the fun is like we can just dismiss that, or you can dive into it, and it'll meet you as deep as you want to go.
And I don't see it unless I walk by it. So it wasn't.
Kind of chose.
But it was kind of interesting. I was just kind of trying to figure out
how does that work?
So what? Yeah. So like, how do I put myself in danger or not in potential danger?
Well, I can only say in the last 3 months, we had a fraud go on my credit card. None of these frauds are real. Nobody's really after us. They're being taken care of. It wasn't even someone malicious, okay? But there was a fraud on mine, so my credit card had to, okay, so there's an account in his name that he has a card, I have a card. My card had to be redone, and so they can send a new card. So then, a month after that, still my card has not come. His account, we try to order something over the phone. It sends a fraud thing so that now his card we can't use anymore. And it doesn't get canceled, but we can't use it. And we're back and forth, the credit card saying there's no problem, tell them to run it, they run it, it's showing fraud, just back and forth, problem. So he said, what to do about it? The more that I address the issue, it just keeps getting bigger. I have a hint, there's that part of me, he'll be 95 soon. How do I make it easier for me in that transition? Because every time I call the credit card company, I have to get him to the phone to say I can talk to them. Okay, so really, I can see the underlying thing. There's something here. So I'm just saying there was all that, and finally I just said, enough. The lady from the product that we were ordering has been calling me saying the orders, every time she calls, she gives me more for the same price. We still want your business. And so, but finally I go, I'm done. I'm not going to worry about this. It's going to take care of itself. This is not mine to clean up. My energy is what I need to clean up. And I can't do that by looking at this problem. And so I just was like cleaning the energy. It's all going to be good. It'll be fine. But if he decides to go, that'll be fine. I still know how to create.
Don't hold your breath.
It's no problem. Getting a credit card in my own name is no problem. Within a week, my credit card has come. The lady called again on the product, and I said, hon, we're just not going to worry about this. When my card comes in or when something, we'll handle it. And as I went to the mailbox to see if my card was there, she decided to run it one more time. It went through.
Inner
It went
peace.
through, it was just fine.
Within
Yes.
minutes, yeah.
Within minutes. And then I go to Sam's Club yesterday and the lady comes up and says, do you want a credit card? Do you need a credit card? And I was like, well, yeah. You know, and I said, in my name? And she goes, yeah. And we're going to give you $300 in product to get a credit card today. So I had everything paid for that I had, and I still have $230 next time I go to Sam's Club that they're going to do. And she gives me and I have a credit card in my name. This is like actually it wasn't even a week, within days, because I stopped trying to clean up the problem. I just focused on my energy. It'll be taken care of. My energy is what I need to clean up and worry about. And done. So cool.
Wendy,
She's got
your
$300
energy
she
is what
didn't
you
have.
need to clean up, not worry about.
No, but that's it. Cleaning up is going to not worrying. It's going to a place that all is well. The universe is on my side.
Appreciation.
I just counted the money in my pocket in my purse for the homeless people. Okay, one day last week we gave out $80 in one day. Okay, so you can see I never put more than $100 at the beginning of the month. I just got another 100 because I thought we just paid $80 and I was almost out. I was down to like 1 or 2 bills. He doesn't go to the bank. He can't do anything about this. He doesn't go by himself. I went back into my thing. I put $100, had $100, and then I counted what is there. I have almost $200 in that. It happens all the time. It multiplies. I see that this physical world is not where the power is all the time.
This is money she never ever spends.
No, it's
not
just,
to spend money, it's to give money.
yeah, it's just the flow. So what I'm saying is I know these things. All I have to win the dog's fight, you just have to go back and remember what you already know.
I think we've hit time. I'll just kind of end with it's about cultivating your own reflection, who you are, and choosing consciously what you want to step in front of the mirror with. Not a physical mirror, mind you. We haven't been talking about a physical mirror this whole time. We've been talking about a metaphysical mirror. The mirror of reality. Yeah, good clarity. Just in case. But okay. One right before I do announcements, you can make changes in your physical reality by holding an image of yourself into the metaphysical mirror as well. So, health is a great way to do that.
Wendy says I'm transparent.
Yeah, like a woman. Exactly. Well, yeah. If you think you're sickly, the universe is happy to prove it to you. If you think you're healthy, the universe is happy to prove it to you. Anyway, announcements. Meditation is tonight at 6 p.m. and is open to everyone. Will you please join us at 9 p.m. each evening from wherever you are for a moment of collective prayer? All this requires is for you to pause and take a moment to focus your heart and mind on the prosperity and growth of Unity of Springfield. There are copies of a prayer on the connection table that you can take with you if you'd like. Your presence and spirit makes a difference, and together we can harness the power of collective prayer.
And it works in your own life too when you do it. I've been doing it now for 2 weeks, and at 9 o'clock when my alarm goes off, I go into immediate gratitude.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You tap into the energy.
Yeah, it's that collective, everybody do this.
Yeah, I love you. We will not have our weekly chair yoga class for the next 4 weeks. Robin, the instructor, is taking some time off. Class will resume on Thursday, July 17th at 9 a.m. The Unity Drum Circle is this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. They meet the first and third Thursday of each month, and all are welcome to join in. No drumming experience is necessary, and we do have some drums you can use if you don't have one to bring. In observance of Juneteenth, our church will be closed this Thursday, June 19th. This important federal holiday commemorates the end of slavery in the United States and is a time for reflection, education, and celebration of freedom. Next Sunday at 9:15 a.m., John Rocker will facilitate the New Thought and World Religion class. The class title is Metaphysics Clarified with Abraham, Emily, and Eric, Part 1. Stuff. For our celebration service next Sunday, we are excited to welcome Jerry Stefaniak back to our platform. Jerry is an author and a longtime spiritual teacher. He has over 20 years of experience helping adults build self-esteem, achieve success, and find inner peace. Jerry draws from personal experience to inspire lasting growth and transformation.
He's the same guy that spoke a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Our next Community Through Music outdoor concert is on June 28th at 7 p.m. The featured performers will be Timmy Miano, Melinda Mullins, and Carson Davis. Bring a chair and a friend and come support local artists while relaxing under the stars. Everyone is invited to our annual summertime picnic right after the service on June 29th. Hamburgers and hot dogs will be provided, so all we need are some desserts and side dishes. Please RSVP online or by signing up at the connection table. This will help us to know how many to prepare for. The end.
Thank you
There you go.
very much.